Welcome to episode 13 of How to Play Like a WoW Pro. This will be a continuation of the 279e session I had, where I got 98.7% mark of excellence, 5500 average damage, 1500 average spotting over like 23 games. I had a bunch of good games during this session, so I'm going to analyze a lot of them. I'm going to be covering 3 replays today. The first one is going to be on Studzianki. If you haven't watched my first video, episode 12 of the WoW Pro series, then I would highly recommend watching that first, because I explain why I use certain pieces of equipment and a little bit more about how to play the 279e, etc. in the field mods as well at the end of the video. As you can see, we have found ourselves in a matchmaking where it's tier 9, which is very nice. They have a lot of heavy tanks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and only 2 TDs. Arty is not a big deal on this map if you're playing up here, which is where I will be playing because I'm in a 279e, and it's very nice to play on the corner here. They have double mice, and that's the biggest thing to keep in mind. These guys are my damage. I want to go where they are going in this battle, and I'm almost certain they're going to be coming this way. So this is almost guaranteed to be a good battle if I play it correctly. Now I actually use my turbo loadout, which you could argue that I should be using my HP loadout in this game. I wanted the turbo loadout because it would allow me to get to this corner quicker. So that I would be able to pre-aim and get ready for my first shot, and also because you can sometimes go in these bushes. You can kind of drive along these bushes, and if something gets spotted in the field, then you can kind of just pop up into the bushes and take a shot on your way over here. And if you have a turbo, then it's just a little bit quicker, and you can get to these bushes quicker. So that's why I choose to go with turbo here, but you could probably argue that I should go for HP, because I'm just kind of going to one position and then staying there. I'm not really rotating around much on this map. So like I was saying, sometimes in the early game, if you're driving over to this position, it's good to follow this pathing right here, because if something gets spotted, as very often is the case, especially light tanks driving across the open field, you can get a free shot on them. And I think I aimed that pretty well, but I bounce, unfortunately. And as you can see, the mice are heading over to the north flank, which is exactly what I want to see. Now the 279e on this map, there are some things you can do with this tank on this map that you just can't do in basically any other tank in the game. And so I'm going to be showcasing that. So when you get to this corner, there is this annoying thing here which you can shoot down, but unless you get here super early and the enemy tanks aren't going to be arriving to the corner yet, it's usually just better to hold your shot and wait for the actual damage. Do not know how that bounces there. But here's the tip for using the 279e on this map, which makes this thing completely broken in this situation. You can use this ramp here to boost your hull upwards, and then you become basically invincible. There's just no way to pen you. Now, I want to point out this position here. If nobody's poking from this corner, what you can sometimes do is, there's actually a gap. I wish I could show you. It's kind of through this window here, through this window, and then through here, where if enemy tanks are playing along here, you can actually shoot them, which very few people actually know about. Now I see that their mice are playing very passive and they don't really want to trade with me on the corner, so I'm going to take this opportunity to just poke and try to hit this CS. This is very aggressive, and you really could not get away with this in many other tanks besides the 279e. Now look at how I go around the corner here. I don't go around sideways, I go around at a 45-degree angle to make it much harder for him to pen me. And I try to bait his shot before I poke. Here I try to track, but it's not an easy track shot, so I miss. But that's fine. Now this guy is not really he's backed off. So I'm gonna try to aggress here. This is pretty aggressive because these two mice could very easily just turn around and YOLO push me, but I see that we have a couple tanks behind me, and I think if they push around, I'll just be able to back up into here and I'll probably be okay. So I risk it. And I also, one advantage to pushing up like this is you get to spot all their TDs. Now this could be a problem, especially in anything besides a 279e, because the TDs can actually just shoot you back. But looking at their lineup, all they have is a waffle and a FV 4K5. So it's not like an E3 or something. So if they get spotted, then I can just shoot them back. And it's very unlikely that they'll be able to full pen me, the 4K5 that is. And the waffle, if I take a hit from the waffle, so be it. It's worth it to get the spotting on him. And so I get a lot of spotting here. Now I know that this guy's probably gonna die, and he already fired at me. So I actually held my shot there because I was gonna get the spotting for it anyway, and I'm going for Mark of Excellence. So it doesn't actually matter whether I shoot him or not. I'm gonna get all of the use from him anyway. Now here's another example of me using the terrain to properly angle my hull. I can use this thing here to boost up my hull. And I'm pretty confident right now that their waffle is not behind here, because I probably would have lit him or he would have shot me by now. Now I try to gun block here, but he actually hits a nice shot on my cupola. I actually want to look at this angle. I don't actually know how he hit my cupola without hitting my gun. He must have... I don't know, he must have just barely snuck it by. But yeah, I'm being very careful with my shots, and now I see the second mouse come in, and now my alarm bells are ringing because these guys could very easily push me. I've already lost 1000 HP. I need to be very careful here. So I angle up to try to bounce a shot, but then I realize I need to just get out of here. I aim for an engine fire here, as you always should do when you're given a free opportunity to do it, besides tracking shots, of course. Now the only way I bounce this guy here is if like I said last video, if there's a situation where they can pen you no matter what, there's no reason to just point your armor directly at them. You should just wiggle and try to get them to shoot the side of your hull that's more angled while you're wiggling. And so that's what I try to do here. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out, but it was worth a shot. Now I'm paying attention on the minimap because I expect this second mouse to push in as well, because they're in a platoon together. So I'm gonna try to use this mouse as a shield to avoid the shells from the other mouse. Now I'm pretty sure one of the arties can actually hit me here, but there's not much I can really do about that. And this guy cupola snipes me again, and yeah, there's the arty. Now you might be thinking, why are you aiming at the front of his hull here? That's really stupid. Why would you ever do that? Well, I'm actually doing it on purpose. I'm trying to make him think that I'm aiming for his lower plate so that he'll stay over angled. And then at the last second, I flick my shot towards his side. And that's something you can do in general. Pretend to aim at one position so that they over angle that position, and then change your aim at the last second to shoot the position you're really intending to hit in the first place. I don't know, I somehow hit that shot because I'm a gamer. What can I say? Now here I get lit. Now I'm trying to use this this rubble pile again to angle up. And the reason why I'm not just pushing it is because they have an unlit waffle, and I'm almost positive that he's on this ridge here, and I'm a one-shot for him if he pens me. So I'm trying to bait a shot from him before I push. Take a blind shot. I really shouldn't have taken that blind shot there. That was just greedy. I actually almost hit it, but I should have just saved my shot, to be honest. And now none of the rest of their tanks can one-shot me, so I'm just going in because the game is over, and I'm trying to get as much as I can out of this game. So this was a very quick battle, but hopefully there's a few things that I covered that you might have learned, like the positioning and how to angle and whatnot, and the aiming trick. I know I'm not gonna make it over there in time, so I'm just pre-aiming and waiting for the damage, waiting for him to get spotted. And RNG helps me out. So, that was the first battle, let's go into the second battle. Okay, here's the second battle. We're on Minsk, again in very good matchmaking, tier 9 matchmaking, no artillery. Not that artillery is very relevant on this map anyway, but extra damage is the biggest thing, because Artie has no health. Now, I'm again picking my turbo loadout because I want to be able to get in position quickly to get shots on this cross here. And on Minsk from both sides, in general, that's usually your best play in heavy tanks. Almost always. Well, I shouldn't say almost always. Sometimes it's best to cross. But it's a hard call to make. But if you're ever in doubt of whether you should cross or not, just don't cross and then just go to this position here from this side, or this position here from this side, and just shoot the tanks that are crossing these gaps here in the beginning. And since they're going to be sight on to you, it's an ideal opportunity to get some tracking assists. If you can make it happen. You can sometimes hit a snapshot there in the beginning, but it's not worth to stop to aim, because you want to get to the spot that can shoot the cross really quickly. Now when would I cross from either side? I would cross when there aren't a lot of heavy tanks on the enemy team, and when your team is sending a lot of tanks to cross as well, or at least a decent amount. Well, that's not necessarily true. You can go alone, or at least with just a couple tanks, but you have to be very careful about it, because you could just get overrun, because it's not exactly a place that you can run from very easily. Because if you try to cross back, then you're just going to get bled again on the way back, so it's usually not worth it to cross, but there are certain situations where it is worth it to cross, especially when the enemy team has very few heavy tanks, because it just allows you to push through the city really quickly. Now from this side of the map, this doesn't really apply very well to the other side of the map, but it can sometimes work. If your team pushes through here, and they're not gonna fall, and they're dug in here, and the enemy team is not able to repush them, then what you can sometimes do is cross here, especially if they don't have any tanks playing in this area here, and you can play this spot right here and right here, and you can poke up and get shots into their sides. So I think that's what I do this replay. I'm not actually sure. You can do it from the other side as well, but it's just a little bit harder to cross, and there's just less potential damage here. There's only one angle to shoot. You can shoot this direction, that's it. From over here, you can rotate over here and get different angles. It's just better from this side. So here I'm aiming for the cross. As you'll see, I'm a potato, so I missed my shot on this guy because I'm bad. But I hit a sick cupola shot. Now I'm still going for shots on the T-54 because it's actually not too hard to pen his turret. But I'm still looking at the overall situation, and if you'll pay attention, my team did take this, and they're well dug in, and they're not going to be able to repush them. And so, as much as it's as much as this T-54 is technically free damage if I just sit here and snipe him for a while, these shots are not by any means guaranteed. And so I want to get in the fight and get some more guaranteed damage. And so I'm going to be crossing here. Now another thing you need to watch out for when you're trying to make this crossing play, you want at least a couple tanks behind you here, or maybe here, to cover you in case enemies just YOLO into you. It's not completely necessary for that to be the case, for you to have teammates there, but it's very nice if they are there. And in this situation, there are tanks next to me. Now this cross here, right, like going right over, you want to be unspotted before you do this if possible, because you can get shot from over here and from right here where the TDs are as you make this cross. Now most people won't be expecting you to make this cross, so they won't be prepared for it, but it is something to keep in mind. You're probably gonna bleed 1, maybe 2 shots crossing here, especially if you're already lit. And here you can see I get some back shots onto them. Now I want to focus this S-Conk if he's gonna be annoying. Now here, I should not have shot the Wheezy. I should have shot this guy. Now why would it be smart to shoot this guy instead of the Wheezy? Well, this guy knows that I'm here. This guy is paying attention to me. This guy, as long as he's oblivious, I can always just come back later and get damage on him for free. But if I shoot both of them, then they might try to both get safe from me. And then I'm in more of a problem. If I just focus this guy who I easily have damage on, then I can focus him down first, and then after I finish him, then I can start shooting this guy, and this guy will be oblivious the whole time until I start to shoot him. But if I shoot him early on, and then I start shooting this guy, then now both of them are aware that I'm here. So I have to fight 2 of them at once instead of 1 at once. 1 at a time, I should say. Now I am paying attention. They have an E100 around this corner, so I'm kind of getting ready to pull back just in case he pulls to this corner and tries to shoot me. I'm pretty sure that my team might actually... No, I don't think... They might be able to spot him through this gap. I'm not sure. I don't think so, but maybe. I am kind of trading with this S-Conk, but here's the thing. If I kill this S-Conk, or if I make him back off, then I can get free damage on these guys. So it's almost worth it to trade 1 for 1 with him. Now one thing to keep in mind is, if you're ever going for shots over here, which you can sometimes do if there are tanks like just playing in the field, you want to pull back a little bit from this corner so that tanks here are not going to be able to shoot the side of your turret right here. So that's why I'm backing up before I look over here for shots. And now I'm aware at all times that I'm now exposed. I'm now exposed to the side. So I'm just, while I'm aiming at this PTA, I'm looking at the minimap because I don't want to get shot by an E4 in the side. So I'm just looking at the minimap. If one of them gets spotted, then I'll just pull back so I don't take a hit. And his PTA just gifts me his HP, which is very nice. Now here I decide to make a rotation because this E4 back here is aware that I'm here. He's stuck at this building right now. And so if I try to poke around this corner and shoot this guy, their E4 is most likely going to poke out and shoot me. That's what's going through my head right now. So I try to get a little bit of a different angle to see if there's any free damage I can get. And there's the E4. He's not actually paying attention to me, which is not what I expected, but it was better to be cautious. And I wanna focus this E4. If he ever exposes himself, I wanna shoot him first before any other target, because if I can get rid of him, first of all, he has a very dangerous gun. He can actually pen me very easily. But second of all, it's just one angle that I can get rid of and I don't have to worry about. Because when I overexpose to shoot one of these guys, he can very easily pull out and shoot me. So if I kill him, then that's no longer the case. Now this, I was paying attention and this Wheezy fired at me and he hit me, so I knew I had to reload on him, so. But now the Wheezy's reloaded, so I have to be a bit careful. Now I see that we're up 7k HP, so I would love to just trade and get some damage here, but unfortunately I'm a little bit too low on HP to just straight up trade. That was an unlucky shot. But I am looking to get free damage anywhere. I am looking to like be aggressive if possible, wherever I can. It's not like we're losing. If you're losing, then sometimes you need to fall back or you need to play a little bit cautiously just to see what's happening and to not overextend. But forgot what I was gonna say. Now this AE phase 1 is over here, right? And so I'm expecting that this TNH is gonna turn for him after he gets shot by the by this guy. After he gets shot by this guy, he should turn for him. Now I'm looking around this corner. At least I thought I was. I thought I went into third person and looked around the corner. It's kind of hard to see. I think I do it next shot. Maybe. Maybe not. I guess I just don't at all. I thought I did, to be honest. But what I could have done in that situation is just zoomed all the way out, gone like this. If I pulled forward a little bit, like right here, I could go like this and I could see which way he's turning. Which way he's turned, I should say. Now there, if you might have noticed what I did. I'm going around the corner as close to, I'm trying to go around at like 30-degree angle, but I'm too close to the corner, so I'm going around at more of a 45-degree angle, which is not ideal because this is very flat. Please replay, please. This plate is very flat, but what I did is I only exposed like this portion here, and then I baited his shot and then I poked. And so that's something you can do in the 279e. There aren't many tanks in the game where that's like a valid strategy, but there are some. You can do that in something like an E5. You can do it in a mouse. You can even do it kind of in an E100, but it's less about your upper plate and more about your lower plate, over-angling your lower plate. Here I almost die. I kind of freak out and think he's gonna kill me. Because I think he has 560 alpha. But he wasn't actually going for me because he can't pen me. I mean, he can pen me, but not really well with AP, which he's firing. Usually when I'm fighting people, I kind of just assume they're gonna be firing gold. But it's always a good idea to have this on and look at what they're actually firing at you, or just listen to what they're firing at you. Because it kind of changes how you need to angle. For example, if if TVP is firing APCR at me, I can literally just face directly towards him, and as long as I don't lurch forward and backwards, he will not be able to pen me from like this range here. If he has heat loaded, then I need to wiggle. It changes how you want to angle your armor, knowing what shell types enemies are using. I get spotted here. I decided to go for a blind shot, but I don't get it. This guy kind of jukes me out here, to be honest. I'm looking at the minimap and I see that he's trying to leave here, but then he pulls back again. I'm assuming that I'm only going to get one full shot of damage into this guy, so it's best just to make my shot count and fully aim it. It's not worth it to try to fire quickly and get off a second shot, because you're just not going to get a second shot most likely. Pretty sick game. 8,500 damage, 1,100 spotting. Alright, let's go on to the next replay. Or was that the last one? I have to check actually. One more replay. Okay, third replay. We're on Malinovka, tier 10 matchmaking. 4 TDs, 1 light tank, and 2 arties. They have a moderate amount of heavies. They have like 4. I choose my turbo loadout because I need to go all the way to the hill, which takes forever. Now, one thing, I mean, going to the hill is pretty obvious. I don't think I really need to explain why going to the hill is a good idea, but one thing you should always be doing while you're driving towards the hill, first of all, I think you should probably take a path kind of like this. I see some people like drive like this and then all the way up. Like, just drive across. You might take an arty shot or something. Maybe. Probably not. But it's just way quicker. And then second of all, you should always be pointing your gun towards the field in case the enemy light tank gets spotted. Kind of self-explanatory, but now when you're going up the hill, you really don't want to dilly-dally much, I guess. You want to get up there pretty quickly. If there's free damage, and it's like guaranteed free damage over here, in this position here, or up on this hill, then yeah, go for it. But if it's like iffy shots, and you're not sure you're gonna be able to even do anything about it, you're not sure you're gonna get damaged, then just don't bother. But here I see the Leo is in the open, and I decided to go for the free damage. Now I aim for a track here. And I actually tracked him and I finished him off. Now I kind of turned and I forgot where exactly he was because he went unlit. But I just used this indicator to show me to line up with his previous spotted location and line it up, and that's how I managed to hit him a second time. Now right now I'm pretty alone on the hill, which could be a problem in a lot of tanks, but in the 279e it's not really a problem, especially when there's artillery, because as long as you're good at dodging artillery, your artillery are going to be pounding them and you're still going to be able to farm them. And if they get above you, unless it's some tanks like another 279e, a Wheezy 5A, a VK, or like a 121B, things with really high penetration, you can fight hull down pretty easily. Now this M5Y, I don't know whether it's a great tank. I don't think it's very good. But all I can say is its turret is really fucking garbage. Like, it's just really easy to penetrate it. Its cupola is huge. And then if it angles its turret upwards to try to avoid you shooting his cupola, then you can just shoot below his gun. Like if he angles up his gun right now, you can just shoot below his gun and it will penetrate. Now here I'm moving very slow to try to get my bloom down. And as I pulled forward, I didn't turn my hull at all because turning your hull gives you an increased bloom penalty. So I tried to go in as much of a straight line as possible. But Malinovka is probably the best map in the game for combined damage with a 279e. It's just insanely good. And for basically any really good hull down tank for that reason. For that, I don't even know what the expression is. But basically something like a Chieftain or even a Rhino. A VZ is okay. A 277. Basically anything that can go hull down really well. You can have huge games, combined games on Malinovka. It's just insane. It's one of the best maps for combined, probably the best actually. Now right there, that little wiggling, I was trying to block this guy from shooting my cupola. Now this is like probably a 40% chance to pen, maybe 35% or something. But unfortunately it bounced. And you can just tell, when no one's paying attention to me, I'm just moving really slowly to control my bloom as much as possible. Bloom isn't a huge deal on the 279e because if you're running V-stabs, but it's always good to minimize it if you can. Now right there, you probably noticed I waited until he lurched downwards because that's when his turret is the weakest. And this, I can't stress how important it really is against heavily armored tanks. Just waiting until they lurch forward or backwards can give you so many opportunities to get better pens. To get easier pens, I should say. Now right now I'm pushing forward. If you're in something other than a 279e right here, you have to be very careful because there can be TDs back here and they can just absolutely F you. I'm actually more exposed than I thought I was. These guys can definitely shoot me pretty easily right now, so. That was like a throwaway shot, it was just not worth taking. But now, once you get up to around this point, you don't want to go any further. You just don't want to push in, unless the game is just ending and you need to YOLO in for damage. Once you push the enemies back to here, unless they have like huge cupolas, you want to try to get unspotted, drop off here, and then come to this location here and shoot them in the side. It's pretty important that you get unspotted, but because if you're spotted as you come over here, as you come over this ridge, you'll get shot by here, you'll get shot by here, and you can take a lot of damage. But I'm just lazy, and so I just go over and take a shot for free. Probably should have waited till I got unspotted, but I really wanted this damage here. Fortunately, I don't get it anyways. Now here, I'm just a gamer, so, you know, we hit those. Just too easy. That was actually a way more sexy shot than I realized it was as I was playing. But, it's not always the correct play to push down from the hill. But if you are going to push down from the hill, never take this route. Always take this route. It's just way safer. If you're losing the game, then I would usually recommend to stay on the hill. Because it usually will turn into a stalemate, and in a stalemate, if you're sitting here, if anything outlights you, especially when the enemy has artillery, you will take a lot of damage over time. Additionally, if you all come down here and you leave nobody at all from your team on the hill, then the enemies can just drive right up here, get up above you, and then you're just dead. So you always have to keep at least one person on hill, ideally. But the reason why I come down here is because I feel like we're probably gonna win this game. And so I'm taking the risk. I want to spot for my team. And as you can see, I get a lot of spotting on this guy here. Like 1600 or something. And another reason why I push down is because I see that they have a rhino here. And if they have a guy here, if you play carefully, you can kill him for basically free. You just have to be pretty careful because he can shoot you back, and there are other angles that can shoot you as well if you're not careful. Like if you push out into the open right here and try to shoot him, then the base will have shots on you. So you need to play like roughly here. And since there's two Arties, I can't really turn towards him and just play against him. I mean, I could, it's not ideal. So I poke around sideways, but I'm mostly hull down, so it's not a big deal. As you can see, I'm pretty much safe from the base. They're not going to be able to hit me here. And I can kill this guy for relatively free, but they do have 2 artillery, so keep that in mind. There, I probably should have aimed slightly lower because of his gun, but that's also just unlucky. Now I'm only on 700 HP, so I have to be very careful here not to take a shot from this guy. Because if I do, I'm almost definitely going to die to Artie. And then the Artie hits me again, so now I'm a one-shot for the T92. But this guy, since he was turning, I know that he's not going to be able to hit me unless he just snaps me and gets super lucky, so... And then I get an unlucky bounce on him. These should really be penning. Little flick. And I'm just lucky that T92 didn't direct hit me, otherwise I would be dead right now. Now, when an enemy team is just camping in the corner, like this, if you're up a lot of HP like we are now, then it's not a big deal. You can just push in all together. But if it's a stalemate and the HP's even, it's basically impossible to break. All you can really do is camp and hope that they make a mistake. It's almost impossible to break if the HP's even. But this is like one of the best locations to get free shots, because inevitably some of your teammates are going to get impatient and they're going to YOLO through here. And from here you can get shots on people in the forest without getting lit usually. Another good location to go when you're in a stalemate on Malinovka is just right here in these bushes, because you spot anything that crosses through here. And you can also shoot at the base. Also on Malinovka, one last thing, it's kind of just a tiny thing, but if you see that they have TDs which have been spotted in the base, behind these rocks, you can blind fire behind these rocks, and you're pretty likely to hit somebody. I've gotten a lot of damage just from blind shots on Malinovka, shooting the TDs in base, from this location especially, because they're pretty much completely in the open from your angle, even if they're not lit. Now the game is basically over. I'm one shot, but I do want to start heading towards the damage because I know they're just going to be hiding in the corner here, and unless I go fully in, I'm not going to get any shots. I'm not going to get any shots by sniping. I need to push in. Little flick. By the way, guys, honestly, the 279e I think is the best tank in the game. Like, better than a Chieftain, better than anything. It's just the best tank in the game, to be honest. I don't think there's anything that can get a higher average damage, and you can probably get the highest average win rate at tier 10 in this thing. It's just completely broken, so I mean, you guys already know it's completely broken, but I honestly think it's the best tank in the game for random battles. But yeah, 8600 damage, 2800 spotting, pretty epic. I think that's all for this video. Again, just like last video, I want to ask that if there's anything that you think I could do to improve this series, any suggestions you have, please let me know. I don't really care if you're harsh about it. I have a thick skin. I just want to know what I could be doing better. So that's it. I'll probably be uploading another video pretty soon. Probably the last batch of 279 games, unless I play more 279e. I know people probably don't want to watch too much 279e though, because it's a broken tank, so I'll try to be playing more like 121B or something in random battles. Also, just let me know what tanks you want to see. If there's any tanks that you guys are having trouble with and you need tips for, just let me know. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.